Good morning, viewers. This is Kasturi Day. I'm back with the periodic table question answers. I say specimen question answers. ICSE specimen question answers. So for that, we will start with the discussion with ICSE specimen question answers. And before that, I will request you to please to subscribe my channel if you have not subscribed yet, or if you are a new viewer to my channel. And please ring the notification bell because that will notify you as soon as a new video is uploaded. I'm going to slow, so please forgive me. I have some difficulties in my house, so please do forgive me. Okay, and please stay with me. Please do subscribe my channel. If you're liking the videos, press the like button, share with your friends so that they can also be benefited from these videos. Okay, so if you have any doubt, please do write in the comment box, and you can also access my email ID kasturi74@gmail.com, KASTURI kasturi74@gmail.com. If not this chapter, you can also write if you want any questions regarding other chapters, you can do that also. Okay. So before I start, I will request you to please join with me with this short meditation for just 1 minute, and then we will start with the discussion. Okay. So for meditation, please concentrate the point of light. Think that light is falling on you. The whole body is being enlightened, and you're feeling very powerful, enthusiastic. You're feeling very happy, enjoying your job, whatever you are doing, getting interest in the work you are doing, and at the end of the job or end of the day, you're feeling that you are being successful. You are being blessed by God. God is with you, and you are becoming successful. So thanking God for giving you such support and help to complete your journey. Okay, we will come back to the discussion. Okay. So for that first question we move on to is, according to the modern periodic law, the properties of the elements are a periodic function of their atomic volume, atomic number, atomic weight, or mass number. It's the answer will be atomic number. We know that modern periodic law is based on the atomic number of the element. On adding water to sodium, the solution formed is neutral, alkaline, acidic, or amphoteric. Sodium belongs to the first group. Okay, first group, which is very reactive group. Okay, that is 1A group. It is the first group, which are known as alkali metals. Okay, and so the solution of sodium with water forms a base, which is highly basic, that is, it is alkaline in nature. So the answer will be alkaline. What is meant by group in the periodic table? Explain why the elements of the same group exhibit the same chemical behavior. In which group are the inert gases placed in the periodic table? Okay. So for part A, let us see what do you mean by group? We know the group is the column. Okay. With similar characteristics. Okay, a group is a vertical column of elements which have the same number of valence electrons and the same valency in the periodic table. Okay, so it's a vertical column of elements which is having the same number of valence electrons and same valency in the periodic table. Like the group, like the first A group, which are known as alkali metals, they have the same valence electron as 1, and their valency is 1 in the periodic table. Okay. Next is the question was, Yes, the next question was explain why the elements of the same group exhibit the same chemical behavior and then in which group the inert gases, right? Okay, so the elements of the same group, they exhibit the same chemical behavior because they have the same number of electrons in the outermost shell. That is, they have the same valence electrons. Okay, like the alkaline group, they have one valence electron in their outermost shell and they have the same chemical behavior. Okay, all the elements of the alkali metal group. Okay, and these inert gases, they lie in the 0 group or group number 18, the last group. Okay, next is a part of the B part of B question. A part of the periodic table is shown below with one element missing. Based on the above table, answer the following questions. Name the element that has duplex structure. Name the lightest alkali metal and name the halogen of the period 2. Identifying the missing element. Okay. So first is a part based on the name the element that has the duplex structure. Duplex structure is hydrogen and helium. So it will be the duplex structure we have is helium. Okay. Then next is the question is not hydrogen, it's helium, which has a duplex structure. Then name the lightest alkali metal. It's the lithium. Okay. Then name the halogen of the period 2. Period 1 is this one, hydrogen and helium in period 1. And period 2 contains lithium, beryllium, then boron. This is carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon. So this is the period 2. And the halogen group is this one. Fluorine, chlorine, this group. So the period 2 halogen is fluorine. Okay. Now, identifying the missing element after silicon, what comes? Okay. So after silicon, it's phosphorus in that period. Now we come to the match the column portion. Element short by 1 electron in the octet. Okay. So what is that? These are the alkali metals. Okay. Okay. Then highly reactive metals. I'm sorry. 1 electron in the octet, forming octet. So short by 1 electron. That means 1 electron deficiency. That is halogens. Okay. Those are halogens which have 7 electrons in the outermost shell. They are short by 1 electron to complete their octet. So those are halogens. Then highly reactive metals, those are alkali metals. That's 3. Then non-reactive elements are noble gases. Elements 3 to 12. Elements of groups 3 to 12, those are transition metals. Then radioactive elements, those are actinides. And elements with 2 electrons in the outermost shell, those are alkaline earth metals, which has 2 electrons on the outermost shell. Valence electrons are 2. All the alkaline earth metals, they have valence electrons 2, so they lie in the group 2. Okay. Now, what are the merits of Mendeleev's periodic table? So let's see. Now, in the Mendeleev's periodic table, there are 4 points. That is, the grouping of the elements is done. Gaps of the undiscovered elements are found. Prediction of properties of undiscovered elements. Then incorrect atomic masses, they have been corrected in the Mendeleev's periodic table. The first, that is grouping of elements, Mendeleev was the first one to successfully classify all the elements by generalizing the study of their elements to the study of near 8 groups. He studied 8 groups and by generalizing study, he classified the elements, okay? First one to do so. Then gaps of the undiscovered elements, Mendeleev's periodic table had some vacant spaces which he kept for those elements which were yet to be discovered. That's why he left for gaps for the undiscovered elements. but they have some similar properties. He predicted that those similar properties it can have, and therefore those can be kept in that vertical column of row. Okay, now the prediction of properties of undiscovered elements. Mendeleev predicted the properties of the elements even before they were discovered, which were later found to be correct. I told you that he placed some gaps for the undiscovered elements and also predicted some properties which were to be have which were later the elements which were later discovered. They would have these type of properties. He predicted those properties later on, and which would happen later on. He predicted that, and that was proved to be correct. The properties of the existence of three elements which were predicted had similar properties to boron, aluminium, and silicon. Okay, later it was discovered three elements like boron, aluminium, and silicon had the similar properties of the three elements which were later discovered. The new elements predicted were isolated scandium, gallium, and germanium. Okay, and initially it was named as they had similar properties with boron, aluminium, and silicon. So they were initially named as boron, aluminium, and silicon, respectively. Okay, even when noble gases were discovered later, they were placed in Mendeleev's periodic table without disturbing the position of other elements. That's because he kept gaps, for the elements which were to be discovered. That's why these three elements which I told you that had similar properties with boron, aluminium, and silicon. Those elements were later known as scandium, gallium, and germanium. Okay, and even the noble gases which were discovered later on, that was also placed in Mendeleev's periodic table without disturbing the actual position of the other elements. Now, incorrect atomic masses corrected. He gave more focus to the similarities in the properties rather than their atomic masses. Okay, that's why while arranging the elements, that's why that led to the correction of the atomic masses of the various chemical elements like gold and platinum. Okay, so as he led more focus, as he focused more on the properties, similar in properties, okay, similarities in the properties. So the atomic masses of many chemical elements could be corrected, like gold and platinum. Okay. Now, next question is, the following questions are related with the long form of the periodic table. State the modern periodic law. In which group are the halogens placed in the long form of the periodic table? In the long form of the periodic table, the elements are arranged in ascending order. Ascending order of dash. The number of shells is equal to number of dash metals are present in group 1 of the periodic table. So let us see. What is the modern, the question asked to state the modern periodic law. So that stated the physical and the chemical properties of the elements are the periodic functions of their atomic numbers. Okay. So the modern periodic law states that the physical and the chemical properties of the elements are the periodic functions of their atomic numbers. Okay. The halogens are placed in group 7A of the periodic table. Okay. Then the number of shells. Okay, in the long form of the periodic table, the elements are arranged in the ascending order of atomic numbers. The number of shells is equal to the group number. The number of shells, the elements which are having number 2 shells, that will be in the second group, like that. Okay. And this one, the dash metals are present in group 1 of the periodic table. Those are alkali metals. Now, the three elements A, B, and C have atomic numbers of 4, 12, and 19 respectively. State the electronic configuration and the number of valence electrons in each element. 4, 12, and 19. So, A, the atomic number is 4. That means electronic configuration will be 2 and 2. Okay, B 12, that means 2 and A, that's 10 and 2. Okay, and C has 19, that means 2, 8 and 7. 17, 2, 8, 8 and 1. Okay, and number of valence electrons. Let's see what will be the valence electrons. So first we'll see 4, it has 2 and 2. Then B 12, it has 2, 8 and 2. And C 19, that means 2, 8, 8 and 1. So in case of A, the valence electron will be 2. In case of B, the valence electron will be 2. In case of C, the valence electron will be 1. Clear? Next. Take the position of hydrogen in the periodic table. Now, hydrogen is the first element of the periodic table. Why? Because it has only one electron in its atomic number is 1 and it has only one electron. This electron is present in the first shell. Hydrogen is similar to both alkali metals as well as halogens, and therefore its position is anomalous. Generally, it is placed in the as the first element of the periodic table because it is having only one electron, because its atomic number is 1. Okay, and it is placed this electron, that is the single electron it is placed in the first shell. It resembles both the alkali metals and halogens, and that's why its position is anomalous. Okay. Next is, by what other name the zero group elements are known? Inert gases, noble gases, we can. Okay. Then how many actinides are there in the modern periodic table? 15. 15 consecutive elements are known as actinides. Okay. Then what are representative elements, in which group these elements are present? Representative elements are those in which all the inner shells are complete, only the outer shell is incomplete. Those are known as representative elements. Okay, and that is those elements which have less than 8 electrons in the outermost shell. Less than 8 electrons in the outermost shell is known as representative elements. They are S and P block elements except the inert gases. Okay, these elements are present in group 1, 2, and 13 to 18. S and P block elements 13 to 18 is mentioned, but it's generally till 17 because 18 inert gases are not with their representative elements. Okay. What happens to the metallic character when we move from left to right in a period? When we move from left to right to the period, the metallic character decreases because it becomes noble gases and later on it becomes gas. I mean, sorry, it becomes non-metallic and then it will change into gas. Okay. So metallic character decreases when we move on to from left to right in a period. Okay. Next is, what is the importance of the periodic table? Okay. The periodic table is important for us, we know it. But what is the importance? The table can be used to predict the properties of the elements. We can predict the properties of the elements from the table, even those which were not yet discovered. Still, their properties can be estimated, can be predicted from that. Okay. Then columns, and that is the groups. and rows, there is a period. They indicate the elements that share similar characteristics. Okay, because rows, the elements of the same group or same period, they have similar characteristics, share similar characteristics. Okay, then the table makes trends in element properties apparent and easy to understand. We can easily understand the properties from the table. Then the table also provides important information which is used to balance chemical equation, because the atomic number, we can know it. What a type of bond it's there, we can also know it. Okay, so it can form, because it is forming an electrovalent or a covalent bond. We can understand from those from the table. Then what are the merits of the Newland's law of classification? Next question. Okay, so Newland's law, two merits are there. The first is, this law gives a basis of classification of elements on similar properties of them. This is the basis of classification of elements on similar properties of the element. Newland first made this classification on the similar properties of the elements. So it was the basis of the classification. It logically relates the elements based on their atomic masses. Okay, here the elements are related. They are classified according to their atomic masses. Now, what are the limitations? Two limitations on Newland's law of classification. Many elements were placed in the same slot in this classification. For this example, cobalt and nickel. Okay, they were placed in the same slot. Some elements having dissimilar properties are also placed together. So classification was not proper, because many elements were placed in the same slot. Dissimilar properties, elements having dissimilar properties are also placed in the same column or same group. Okay, together, that is. Now, then what name the shortest period? The first group is the the first period is the shortest period. That is hydrogen and helium. That is the shortest period of the periodic table. Okay. Next question is, name the incomplete period in the periodic table. The seventh period is considered to be an incomplete period as it contains 32 elements. Though it contains 32 elements, the seventh period is the incomplete period, though it contains 32 elements, as it consists of elements whose properties have not yet been discovered properly. Okay, because the properties of these elements were not yet properly studied. Okay, still it contains, we know that it contains 32 elements, but their properties were not still studied yet properly. That's why this period is incomplete, the seventh period. Okay. Next is, if an element has having electronic configuration of 282, then predict its position in the periodic table. 282. That means it has 3 shells. Okay. It has 3 shells. The element that is 3 shells, that means it is in the third period. Now 2 valence electrons, so it's in the second group. Okay. So the valence electrons gives the idea of which group it is, and the number of shells gives the idea in which period. Here. Now, what are the elements of the following groups collectively called? Group number 17, group number 17 is collectively called as halogens. Group number 18, noble gases or inert gases. Group number 1 are alkali metals. What is meant by periodicity and what is the cause of the periodicity property? So, let us see. Then, when the elements are arranged in the modern periodic table in order of their increasing atomic numbers, They're arranged in the periodic table in such a way that they have increasing atomic numbers. Okay, the occurrence of the similar properties. So increasing atomic numbers, the occurrence of the similar properties of the elements after a definite interval. Okay, the term that is used for this is periodicity of the element. So in the modern periodic table, we know the elements are arranged in such a way they have the atomic numbers increasing. And in this case, the properties of the elements, they are similar after a definite interval. Okay, in this case, that is known as periodicity. That is the occurrence of the properties, similar properties of the elements after a regular interval, definite interval. That is the periodicity of the element. Okay. Now, what is the cause of the periodicity? It is the repetition of the similar outer electronic configuration. Because their outer electronic configuration is similar. Repetition of the similar outer electronic configuration after certain regular intervals. That's why their properties also repeat themselves after regular intervals. That is the cause of the periodicity. Okay. Now, next, the last question is what is the merit of Dauberner's trial? Okay. So it is that it made a look at the elements in terms of groups of elements with similar chemical and physical properties. Okay, it made a look at elements. It made a look at the elements in terms of the groups of elements with similar physical and chemical properties. Okay, so he was the first person who tried to make a look at the elements, which is having the groups of the elements with similar chemical and physical properties. Okay, so this is the end of this chapter. If you are a new viewer to my channel and not subscribed yet, please do subscribe. And if you are liking the videos, press the like button, share with your friends so that they can also be benefited from these videos. And do comment on, you may comment on this chapter. If you have any doubt, you please write in the comment box, or you can also access my email ID, that is kasturi74@gmail.com. KASTURI kasturi74@gmail.com. Okay. So please do subscribe and ring the notification bell, because that will notify you as soon as a new video is uploaded. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.